My interest in adaptive sports began 2 years ago when I joined the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, also known as GLASA, to throw the shot put and discus, as well as run the 100 and 200. Throughout my 2 years, I have been able to benefit a lot from the team, and I've seen others benefit greatly. I've learned to know that California integrated adaptive sports at the high school level, and have heard from teammates who have tried to integrate in Illinois but failed. Here's my presentation on adaptive sports by Ben Brandt. With my previous knowledge of adaptive sports, I created my research question to be, what do athletes with cerebral palsy, CP, need in order to attain IHSA approval for competitive state championships and track and field events? Before we tackle the question, it is important to look at the key research, and it's important to understand the importance of the current adaptive sports organizations. In the U.S., there are a few big organizations that all help athletes improve their ability to succeed in the track and field events and help their overall well-being, including GLASA and Blaze. One of the biggest organizations is GLASA. GLASA has over 1,000 athletes from 8 different states, from Ohio to Iowa. GLASA is based in Illinois, in Lake Forest. GLASA helps athletes find a passion, then once the athletes find their true passion, they help them grow and achieve success at any given track level. In my research, I found that adaptive sports help athletes mentally and physically. In one journal, it states strength training as few as 2 times per week, increased walking speeds, and improved strength 20 to 70% over 3 to 6 months. Even more benefits like happiness and well-being can be seen when they are part of a team and continue to grow as an athlete for multiple years. Other research that is important to look at is the similarities and differences between CP athletes and wheelchair athletes. Both are able to compete in adaptive sport track and field events. There's even a relay event where they run together in a 4x100. One of the biggest differences is that wheelchair athletes have gained support recently at the high school level and now are a part of high school track in 10 states, including Illinois and California. CP affects many people, and a statistic shows that CP affects 0.2 to 0.3% of children, which is 2 out of every 1,000 kids. To a similar extent, there are 3.6 million people 15 years and older in the United States that use a wheelchair. Both types of athletes have a similar amount of athletes and need similar accommodations, but CP athletes are seeing less progress and acceptance of helping them receive state championships in high schools across America. Throughout my research, I looked at how California was able to implement state championships for athletes with CP. I found that in California, the championships ran parallel to normal championships, and in California, there are separate steps to get to state, like separate qualifications. The biggest factor I found in how California was able to implement separate state championships was having a separate state disability act that is lacking in Illinois and other states. The act states that recipients of government aid must provide qualified students with disabilities an equal opportunity to participate. A school may offer separate or different physical education and athletic programs if they are equal in all aspects of the sport. California believed that all aspects include state championships. The California Interscholastic Federation believes that all athletes deserve a fair chance, even if they have a disability. In Illinois, an athlete from GLASA named Aaron Holzmueller sued, trying to gain support for the state disability championships and acts. Once at court, though, the judges denied the championships, stating that Holzmueller failed to show numeric proof that without his disability, he could have made it to state. The judges said that state is for the best of the best, and if you have a disability, you should be held to the same standards. Another judge stated that other categories would then have to be created, and it makes state too easy to achieve. Although one judge sided with Aaron, stating that the argument of the other peers could be used to make girls and boys compete against each other. Aaron continued to push for the championships, especially because Illinois has similar championships for wheelchair track. Both states have state championships for wheelchair athletics. Although there is more participation in the championships in California, this could be due to the fact that more people know about the championships. Both states' sport associations' mission statements talk about equality for all, but they have different ideas on which level of competition to allow it at. The biggest difference I found between the two states was the State Disability Act in California that allowed California to implement the state championships. With my research, there are a few implications. One implication that is clear that for Illinois to implement separate state championships, a similar disability act will be needed in order to convince the judges. This leads to another implication that even if Illinois eventually passes a state disability act, there could be different interpretations that leads to confusion. For example, if one person believes equality at track should be held just for local track meets and not state. One limitation is that all conclusions from this research can only be applied to high schools in America due to the fact that younger athletics are no cut, and so any athlete that wants to be included will be placed on the team, no matter the sport, size, or age. And in college, there are already adaptive sport teams like Michigan and Alabama and Penn State. Another limitation is the lack of the court of accessibility to the court cases in Illinois due to the athlete wanting them confidential. In conclusion, it is clear that there is a big necessity of a clause in a future disability act for a non-discriminatory extracurriculars in post-secondary schooling. It's also clear that population needs will need to be met in order to hold the state championships like in California and with the wheelchair athletics in Illinois. The population of CP athletes deserves state in all sports and not just California. If I had more time to research this topic, I would like to travel to California to watch how the state championships and track events for CP athletes were held. I would try to set up interviews to talk with the coaches and officials of the California Interscholastic Federation to see how they implemented the state championships, and how they interpreted the Disability Act. I would also want to set up interviews with the IHSA to see their thoughts on a separate state championships, and not just the courts. In conclusion, in order for Illinois CP athletes to attain separate state championships, they should follow the steps that California has in place, with the first step being to push for a separate state disability act. And once they achieve the championships, they will need to help spread awareness so there are enough athletes to compete and hold the separate state championships. Thanks.